I'm getting a bunch of ads. Yo, go check out Joe Budden's podcast. They on there talking about y'all. They on it. And I go on there and y'all talking a bunch of false shit. First, let's start off with you, Rory. Talking about, yeah, because if this is something that they all started together, nigga, we didn't start this together. I started giving out $1 million worth of game in 2012. And every year after that, people were saying, you need a podcast. You need a podcast. You need a podcast. Who you talking about something we started out together? Then you talking about, no, because when they started, they was on SoundCloud. Nigga, we look like SoundCloud rappers to you, nigga. Huh? Yeah, because when they first started out, they wasn't getting no money. Nigga, who? If you go back to our second episode, we had sponsors. What is you niggas on there talking about? Joe Budden, you talking about, yeah, because the first 89 shows, we only 60 shows in. What is you niggas talking about, man? Talking about, yeah, because they used his facility for free. No, the fuck we didn't. We went there and asked that man, how much do you want to record our podcast in here every month? And we paid that nigga each and every month. And we paid that nigga for live shows. What is you niggas talking about, man? Rory talk about, excuse me, if I'm saying something that, ain't the truth, then excuse me. No, if you saying something that ain't the truth, then you ain't supposed to speak on it with your bitch ass. Because let's be for real, Rory. Your funky ass ain't nothing but a Joe Budden's coattail rider. You hopped on the back of his trench coat and took the ride. Why is you speaking on shit that you don't know about? Oh, they started out on SoundCloud. Nigga, SoundCloud. Nigga, the first episode we ever put out was number 2 in the country. Behind Joe Rogan. Not Joe Budden's. Don't ever get us fucked up. So y'all keep talking for the college kids, and y'all keep talking for the suburbians. We the streets, nigga. We cut from a whole different cloth than y'all niggas. Y'all niggas is rayon. We Egyptian cotton, nigga. But since we want to speak false shit, let me tell some truth shit. Back in the day, Ransom pulled up to Joe Budden's crib, knocked on the door. His uncle came to the door. He said, is Joe Budden's here? He said, no, Joe ain't here. The nigga slapped your uncle, man. Why didn't nothing happen? How you let your uncle get slapped and ain't nothing happen? Because if a nigga pulled up to my house and even knocked on my door like he wanted some smoke, he would have been leaving going to get 84 fucking staples in his head. So, if we want to speak truth, Maul, you gave us a lot of game. We fuck with you. But you softer than baby shit. Why is you speaking on us, man? Why y'all niggas speaking on shit y'all don't know about? Huh? I'm confused. Why? Now I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Niggas that speak on shit.
Yo, it's Big Ant, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV. Had to come tap in real quick on Gullie the Kid responding to episode 344 of the Joe Budden podcast, which is called Soapy. And about the 64-minute mark, they started speaking on the business of podcasting. Now, understand, I will say this, they're not Joe Budden podcast. I didn't take what they said to Gullie as harmful or disrespectful. If you understand the Joe Budden podcast, you will kind of understand if you've been following them from day one. I've probably been listening to the Joe Budden podcast for about 3 going on 4 years. I was kind of listening to it at the beginning, but I didn't know because I was only hearing it on YouTube clips being broken down, and it would pop into the algorithm. I actually should think it was a radio show before I really became equipped to what a podcast was. But Gullie got upset because they spoke on his situation of the $1 million worth of game podcast with Gullie the Kid, his cousin Wallow, and Dev. Basically, they were breaking down the business because the 3 parted ways. Gullie and Wallow, they family, they still locked in. Show moves on. The guy Dev was the actual third personality on there. So when they actually signed the deal, they did numerous of episodes for free. That's the lost leader phase. I actually learned that term from Parks on the Joe Budden podcast. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen I've talked about that before. Right after they said it, I was talking about it because I had started my own YouTube channel and media platform and doing interviews in the streets of Houston. So I always had that lost leader phase in the back of my mind. Gullie the Kid and them did they lost leader phase with their crew, and then eventually wouldn't got a deal. Now in this deal, that's when the problem came about. The Dev, they were using Dev's studio, and that's what Rory spoke on. Rory put a comment out there about that, and Gullie the Kid didn't like it. He made the comment about, hey, paying for the studio time or not paying for the studio time is going to be different if you make me feel like I'm part of the team when the money comes, or you make it seem like I'm not part of the team. But Gullie, to be honest and be fair to Joe Budden podcast, they said that they didn't know all the details. Rory was playing. They got a thing when they said we're playing devil's advocate. I use that term also. A lot of content creators use that term. When you say you playing devil's advocate, you're like, hey, I'm on the outside looking in, the other side of it. So I didn't take nothing they said as disrespect to Gullie the Kid. They did say that they didn't know certain things, but they offered opinions from all angles. I don't know if Gullie just looked at one clip and just ran with it, or did he feel like that all the way, because he went in. He brought up he was calling Maul soft. He brought up the shit with Joe Budden. I don't know if y'all ever seen that. It is on YouTube, where his people get slapped outside the house by Ransom. And then also he started going in on Rory, calling him, you just riding Joe Budden coattail. So these are disrespectful things for Gullie the Kid to say. When you listen to the whole thing in its context, I didn't take nothing they said as disrespect. At the end, they shot it out Wallow. They shot it out Gullie. They shot it out Dev and wished him the best because he's now parted ways. They were just saying, understand this is what it is with podcasting. A lot of people are jumping into podcasts right now. A lot of people who's doing it. I was doing it in 2017. Right after Hurricane Harvey hit in Houston. Right before, actually. We started the week before Hurricane Harvey. Our second episode was supposed to be the weekend that Hurricane Harvey hit on the Floyd Mayweather fight, but we ended up not getting it done. But we did like 40 episodes. That's on the iTunes, the podcast app that comes on your phone, Urban Politicians TV podcast. We got 40 episodes. Right now, I'm doing a podcast with my homie Pookie Loke and the team at Studio 56. It's called the Studio 56 podcast, also a recording studio. But I say that to say all this, man. You got to have understanding. That's what Joe Budden and them were trying to get across. The team has to understand what the plan is. You got to understand you ain't going to make no money in the beginning. So what are we going to do when the money comes? I suggest everybody go listen to the Joe Budden podcast. If you're interested in this topic, I guarantee you they have to respond now. All in all, at the end of the day, Gullie did create content and create controversy for this topic. I don't think that nobody on the Joe Budden podcast are going to take it too serious the way that Gullie was talking. He was being very disrespectful. I will say that. He said disrespectful shit. It is what it is. Wallow is a supporter of what I have going on, just on some we not partners, let me say this, me and Wallow, we don't hang out, you know what I'm saying, we not this, but he's shown support. I've talked to Wallow face to face. Gullie the Kid actually gave me an interview. You can look that up on the Urban Politicians podcast. The Urban Politicians TV YouTube channel, the channel that we own now. You can look it up. He's on there. He gave me a good little interview when I was getting going, trying to figure everything out. And Trey, salute to Gullie, salute to Wallow, most definitely. Appreciate all the support. Also, shout out to the Joe Budden podcast and they team. I want to create some content with them one day, maybe get all three of them on a quick little interview. And you know what I'm saying? I say that to say this, man. Sometimes you got to read the whole context and understand if niggas is coming disrespectful. This is my opinion. I don't feel like they came disrespectful. They did say that they didn't know everything. Said he didn't know for sure, but they were painting scenarios because that's what the supporters want to hear. So tell me what y'all think about this, man. Subscribe to the channel, Urban Politicians TV. Support all these young groups and support $1 million worth of games. Support Joe Budden podcast and everything they got going, man. These creators, dog, we got to... it's friendly competition in this creative shit. We had that shit out here in Houston, even with the other interviewers and the bloggers and things like that. But, don't let it get too deep where y'all can't stand each other. Y'all got to call each other out each other's names. And Gillie, you heard he got disrespectful. I actually cut a little bit of that short because it would have been forever. But subscribe to the channel. 1,000, man.